thank you for tuning in to another video. In this particular video, of course, we're going to go over some study tips for you on how to possibly look at the Bible. Is it a written record or something to be looked at as a religion? Keep watching. All right, okay, welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. What I go over, of course, is esoteric and exoteric research in retrospect to how it influences you and how by being on a more pious lifestyle, how that can help you in your soul journey on obtaining the mysteries of the light in a better way. So as I was saying in the introduction, in this particular video, I want to kind of give you some study and reference points. So the Bible, based on my investigation of it, of course, is a text that's primarily used to give you a record of events. Now, how it's been done in a way in which to cause people to follow is it's easy to take a name out, a personal name, and put the word God there, put the word Lord God there, put the word Lord there. And I did do a video showing that there is a difference between these particular titles. I was only dealing with the book of Genesis, just the first couple of chapters. I'll link that underneath the like button in the description area for you. But in this particular video, I want to introduce some stuff to you because I'm starting to see in the research that it's basically something called annals. So you have various different families, various different kings and so forth. And an annal, of course, is a written record of daily events or year-to-year events. So you're dealing with chronology. Maybe you're dealing with who begat who in what way and what kingship was passed to who and how it was passed, or you might find that it's significant to record or write a specific events based on the level of the severity of it. And you'll notice that most of these prophets that were called prophets by certain groups always had a scribe with them. And even kings typically will always have someone documenting their events for them and sometimes getting even more specific than what they want to. But when you have someone later on who comes in, of course, and they're looking to monetize something and make a monopoly out of it, it's very easy to form a religion out of just written records of families documenting what was taking place and how it was took place. So what you have happened, what I've come to find out, like for example in the book of Genesis, where you're dealing with the creation of something. So if you think about that in terms of a family, you can have someone who's at the top of that particular gene pool, right? So then they are considered a god. Now, like if you're looking to procreate or any of those kinds of things, you don't necessarily, hey, well, let us make man in our image. You know, maybe it's just somebody that you like and you're interested, and somehow hopefully the divine spark is not lacking. But if you come together and you decide to do something like that, then that would be you creating in your image, if you get what I'm saying. So then if you have a written record of events that keeps going, then if someone finds that, then they'll end up calling you God. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So what I'm basically saying, of course, is you have, this type of thing that has taken place with the Bible. And I think it's important to go and look into who are these particular ones who are at the beginning of that particular family group. And then what you'll come to find in your research, of course, is that you'll have a situation where it's off planet and you have beings who might have come and decided to do some things here, and then they decided to create, and then obviously there was written records of various different wars or various different families, what king line went to who, whether it be through lineage or a heritage type thing, or through force of being taken. And then when you jump to prophecies, like for example, you'll have certain so-called prophets or someone who was able to be communicated to through hearing. Remember in there it says opening up the eyes but they see not, and opening the ears but they hear not. So what you're dealing with is the ability to be able to hear what someone else is saying to you, and then that can get translated as God said this or the Lord God said that. By someone else who decided to remove the name that was written in the annal or the written record of whoever it was that they were hearing and that they were talking to. Because at one particular point, And even now, for those, of course, where faculties are being made available, each particular sphere or every type of planet or microbe or whatever you want to call it was able to communicate, and there was constant communication, telethought communication from place to place, and that was a form of being able to communicate. So if the thoughts are a little bit or more pure before than what they are now, then obviously the thought forms or the forms of communication were better then. So then it was more of an isolated channel of communication to where you knew who was talking to you. So then you would just document those events as being able to receive instructions from such and such, or instructions from this one or that one, and then you made a written record of it. So then you had these others that came in, of course, and decided to remove and make those names no more in remembrance, if you get what I'm saying. So what they decided to do was just replace it with the word God and replace it with the word Lord God and so on, to cause creeds and dogmas to be set up. So then everybody is following after the dogma or the creed, instead of actually realizing that what you're dealing with is families. So you're dealing with a heritage that is basically available for those who are working out the appropriate workshops from within to actually understand who they come from and realize that they are heirs to something. So if you wanted to remove that, then that was one of the ways that it was done. So I wanted to give you some study tips to look into in terms of annals, and what you're looking at is written records of events year by year that was taking place. And then when you hear something about someone being spoken to, it's no different than just hearing a voice or hearing a thought or something along those lines. And that stuff is actually taking place today as we speak. But that's the reason why it says, let them who have ears to hear, let them hear, if you get what I'm saying. So I wanted to kind of give you that as a way of adding to your repertoire in terms of your study guides. And I'll also leave some information underneath the like button for you to look into that will help you with some of this information that I'm exposing you to today. So in this particular video, I wanted to kind of show you how the Bible is a compiled records. It's compiled records, okay, of annals. An annal is a written record of events that have taken place, and you're just recording them, documenting it. And that's the reason why you had scribes and so forth following people around. And then you'll see that sometimes with kings, how they'll have someone following them around and writing down everything that they're doing, if you get what I'm saying. So then if someone else comes along and finds that information, that's how things have gotten manipulated. And you have many groups that are just following and not actually hearing anything from anyone, but just following. And prosperity is the main thing that everybody's seeking after today, instead of obtaining the mysteries of the light. And what you're actually obtaining is just being able to go up in evolution, consciousness growth and evolution in the Father's house of many mansions. And that Father, you need to know who that is. You need to know who you come from, what family group you actually come from. And there are prophecies and things that were spoken about those groups with those who have the tables of destiny and so forth. When you come into a creation, then basically what you're doing is you're just kind of creating a way you're dealing with high intelligence. Let me just put it that way. I don't want to get too far into it in this particular video, but then that's pretty much what you have. So I wanted to kind of give you some information to use in your studies to where you start saying, okay, well, maybe let me look at this from an anthropological aspect. Let me look at it as DNA, and especially when you start getting into laws and instructions, really what that was trying to do was just make sure that you had good DNA hygiene, because in order to go into the stars or to go and travel to do various different things without heavy metal or some type of ship or whatever, then you need to make sure that you have that ability based on who you come from. And there are those who have it as opposed to those who don't have it, if you get what I'm saying. And then that's the reason why you have Psalms 83, where it says, let us cut them off from being a nation, that their name will be no more in remembrance. And then you have these groups who don't have the necessary ability from a genetic standpoint, actually feeding off of the rest of the population and keeping them in bondage and not being able to get out of the problems that they're creating for themselves, if you get what I'm saying. So I'll get into that part in another video. But I just want to give you something to really think about and to look into, and I'll leave resources underneath the like button for you. And if you have any questions about this particular video, leave them in the comment sections like you always do, and I'll be happy to respond to them, and I'll see you in the next video.